Since discovering active recall a few years ago, the way in which I study and revise for exams has completely changed for the better. I now spend less time studying, but doing it in a much more efficient way. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Raina, I'm a fourth year dental student, and in this video I'm going to be sharing 5 ways that you can incorporate active recall into your studying routine right now. And if you do enjoy this video, please feel free to give it a like and subscribe to my channel, and if you try out any of these techniques, let me know in the comments down below. So summarising, highlighting and rereading your notes have all been shown to be not so effective ways of studying. So what is active recall and why is it better? Well, it's a scientifically proven effective studying strategy where you retrieve information from your brain without looking at any reference or source. You actually have to work hard to remember the information, and this testing process can be done in several ways. The first way that you can use active recall is through flashcards, and most recently I used Anki to revise for my radiology exam. Anki is a digital flashcard app, and it's very easy to use with lots of different types of flashcards to choose from. For the most basic type, you just write the question on one side and the answer on the other side. But my favourite type of flashcard is the image occlusion type, and this is where you can cover up different labels of an image or a diagram, and I found this so helpful for my exam because I had to do this for different radiographs, and it was a really helpful way to revise. Another reason Anki is so useful is because it incorporates spaced repetition as well as the active recall through the flashcards. This means that you're repeating the testing process and it stops you forgetting the information as easily. In the past I have also used Quizlet and Brainscape, but I found that I had to pay for certain features that I wanted to use, so I've slowly been transitioning to Anki, which is free to use on your laptop and online, but there is a small charge on the mobile app. In my opinion though, this is completely worth it. I'm now going to be using Anki till my final year exams, and it's so easy to use, it's got a clean interface, and lots of people have been recommending it to me as well. The second way that you might like to use active recall is through the toggle feature on Notion. I've spoken a lot about Notion in my other videos before, but basically it's an all-in-one workspace app where you can create to-do lists, calendars, mood boards, and just keep track of everything going on in your life. This is currently how I've been taking my initial notes from lectures, where I can formulate questions immediately whilst I'm watching the lecture. I actually haven't taken proper notes since the start of 4th year because there is just so much content. So instead, whilst I'm watching a lecture, I will create these questions using the toggle feature, and essentially they are just like flashcards. So it means when I come to revise during my exams, I already have questions prepared to use for my active recall. Although this has been helpful in actively encouraging me to think about my lecture material and what questions I need to create from it, it's not that helpful for going back to my notes and trying to quickly find some information that I need. So I am in the process of figuring out a different way to track my notes, but I still do think questions are the single best way to remember a lot of content. The third way that you can use active recall is through the Feynman Technique. I do have a full video about this on my channel, so I won't go too in depth into this. Basically, this is a 4-step technique where you write down what you know about a topic on a single page, and then you teach it to someone with less knowledge in that area. You then repeat this process till you fill in the gaps in your knowledge, and you can explain it to someone confidently and correctly. The process of actually writing down what you remember is the active recall part, because you're doing this without looking at anything else. I really think this is a great way to not only use active recall, but to also use teaching as a key tool for studying and consolidating a topic further. I often like to do this with friends during exam season, where we can teach each other different topics using active recall. I think my favourite way to use active recall though has to be using past papers and exam questions. I really don't think there is any replacement for this, as you can directly know whether you're getting something right or wrong, similarly like with flashcards. The difference here is actually having access to a solid mark scheme, often with example answers. This is especially the case if you're doing GCSEs or A-levels. There are literally hundreds of past papers with example mark schemes, and not just showing you what to write, but in the way that the examiner wants it. At university, it is a bit more difficult to get hold of past papers, but you do often get some exam questions, and you can search online as well. Repeatedly testing myself through questions really makes sure I'm streamlining my studying as far as possible, and I'm only concentrating on the things that I need to know for exams. I also have a few A-level study tip videos where I talk more about the importance of active recall and past papers, so if you're interested, I will leave a link up here. The next way that you might want to use active recall is through the use of mind maps. I find this helpful once I know a bit about that topic area or subject, so I'd recommend reviewing before you do the mind map. You can do your mind map on a paper or digitally on an app or a Chrome extension. So firstly, you just put your chosen topic or question in the middle of the page. Then decide what you actually need to know about that topic. So for me, if I was creating a mind map on a certain disease, the name of that disease would go in the middle of the page. Then around it, I could draw separate lines to things like the definition, the causes, the signs, the symptoms, the treatment, and prevention. This would then allow me to jog my memory in these specific areas relating to the condition. Then it's simply a case of filling your mind map out however you like, and the idea is to not remember absolutely everything, but try and get a broad overview of the topic. Once you think you've finished or you can't remember anything else, then you can go back to your source materials and review your notes and fill in any gaps or anything that you got wrong on the mind map. This is a much better way of covering a topic rather than just rereading your notes or copying notes from a textbook where you might not really be paying attention. Again, active recall is being used here because you're only using your brain to create the mind map, and only later are you filling in any gaps or correcting any mistakes with using information. So those were my 5 suggestions for how you can incorporate active recall into your studying routine right now. I hope you found it useful, and if you did, please consider dropping a like and subscribing, and I'll see you all again in the next one. Bye!